The next item of business is an urgent question on the COVID-19 vaccine delivery from Donald Cameron. Now, before calling Mr Cameron, I want to comment on the remarks made at the Scottish Government's briefing today in relation to the authorisation of a COVID-19 vaccine. The news of that authorisation is a very welcome and significant matter, but I want to reiterate to all members that my expectation is that such significant matters and announcements should be made to the Parliament and the Chamber in the first instance. Now, it's not a matter for applause. I call Donald Cameron to ask his urgent question.
Thank you. To ask the Scottish Government whether it will provide an update on the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines following the approval of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine.
Minister Joe Fitzpatrick.
Answering the question, I think it would be helpful for me to just outline the timeline in terms of events this morning. Last night there was a Four Nations meeting between the Scottish Ministers and Mr Hancock.
Mr Fitzpatrick.
6:30.
Mr Fitzpatrick, before you go on, you're here to answer a question from Mr Cameron, urgent questions. I hope it's not a remark on my comments from the Chair. Just answer the question from Mr Cameron, please. I
think my point was to lay out when the announcement was actually made rather than the suggestion that's been made.
It sounds to me, Mr Fitzpatrick, that you're questioning my ruling. I would rather you answered the question from Mr Cameron. Thank you. So
following the announcement by the Medicines and Healthcare Regulatory Agency this morning, the publication of the final recommendations for the Joint Committee of Vaccination and Immunisation also met this morning, and the Four Nations Ministerial call, which also was met this morning at 6:30 after a call from Matt Hancock last night. That was then, I think, followed up by an announcement to the Stock Exchange at 7 a.m. And at that meeting at 6:30, the Four Nations and members will all be aware that we have agreed we'll always take a Four Nations approach, that the four ministers agreed at that call that vaccination of the COVID-19 Pfizer vaccine will start in Scotland on Tuesday, the 8th of December. As proposed with business managers this morning and subject to the Parliament's agreement at decision time...
Please stop. Sit down, please. Mr Fitzpatrick, you're here to answer an urgent question from members, not to address comments from the Chair or any other matter. Now, if you please address the question that Mr Cameron asked you and not address your question or your remarks to my remarks.
Thank you for that answer. This is a truly breakthrough moment and offers hope of a return to normality at the end of what has been a long and difficult year. However, it's deeply disappointing that the Scottish Government refused a request for the First Minister to give an urgent statement to Parliament today, given the significance of this news.
Thank you. And Willie Reddy.
This is certainly a good day, but it does show what the Government thinks of this Parliament, that it sends the Minister to deliver this wholly unconvincing and inadequate explanation this afternoon. But does the Minister know this? Why are those who were on the shielding list not prioritised for the vaccine?
Sir.
Those on the shielding list are prioritised in the vaccine. They're just not in that very first wave.